Well, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to Seasoned Convo.
I
It's
know.
time for another episode. It's been a minute.
It
How
has
you
been a minute.
been,
I'm doing
Paprika?
good. I've been doing good, Cayenne. I've been doing good, CP. It's been a
Good,
minute.
good. It's been a minute. Life's been lifing, right? Life's been lifing for sure.
Yes, it has.
I know you done had a new grandbaby born since
Yes,
the last
I
time.
did. Thank
Congratulations.
you. Went for a visit for a few
Great.
days. That was
Yes. Well,
nice.
awesome. Congratulations.
Mhm.
I know that's
Thank you.
exciting.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Good, good,
Yep.
good. I tell you, the kids are growing up. They're having their own families. Isn't that something?
I know. It's crazy.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long,
It
right?
doesn't.
Which goes in line with what we're talking about today.
Yep. Yep.
This is episode 4. Okay.
Hmm.
So can we believe we already on episode
I
4?
know. Look at us. We're
And I
rolling,
know
rolling,
we
rolling.
rolling. And today's episode is about time because time is so precious.
It is.
And talking about, the kids, and on a serious note, I'm going to just say, first of all, thank God for allowing us to do this.
Oh,
Okay. Thank God for all that he's doing in the midst of this. Thank God for our listeners, for all of our subscribers, for our family, everybody that's supporting us through this, right?
hmm.
They have been great. We have gotten some positive feedback.
Did.
And we still give ourselves a lot of grace because we're new to this. So we're going to dive right on in on our serious note of today, which is about time. Let me see what time it
What
is.
time is it?
What time is it? What how did the song go?
I know.
What time is it?
See?
Morris Day.
Yep.
Tell our age. Okay.
Mhm.
On a serious note, time doesn't stop for no one. And as we can tell, time has been moving so fast. And I tell you, when you think about, I don't even feel like we're 50 in our 50s because I still see the little girl I was back when I was younger.
Mhm.
And I still see the little girl, that was figuring out her way through life when life was just beginning and trying to, where we could make decisions on our own.
Mhm.
But now it's like time has moved so fast and we're watching so many things change in the world. It's like, I mean, we didn't have cell phones, Susan.
Nope. We
We
did
didn't
not have
have
a cell
cell phones,
phone.
Pepper.
None.
We didn't. We didn't even have cell phones. I
Not one
mean,
cell phone.
we didn't
Nope.
even have internet.
Nope. We sure didn't.
We had encyclopedias.
Yeah, we
You
had to look
know,
stuff.
and you think about how many reports we did in school because we went to the Grissom Library
Yep.
to look up and research and
Card
look in
catalog.
yes, in the file catalog, right? Time doesn't
Yep.
stop for no one.
It doesn't.
So much have changed, not just in the world, but in our own lives.
Mhm.
Um, just thinking about, we can't stay up late no more. None of that happens. We can't, we don't have the same energy that we had. We don't have the same memories that we don't have a lot of the things that we had. And that's because time
Yes.
has taken its course, right?
Mhm.
In life and also in us, in everything that we do. So you start to realize what we didn't understand about our parents and our
Mhm.
grandparents. Now we're starting to understand how they felt and the things they used to say now all make sense, right?
Sense. Yep.
They'd be like,
Makes sense.
you know what I'm talking about when you become my age.
Uh-huh. Yep. You
And
understand
that's the
when you get older. Yeah.
when you will get it. You'll understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
So time doesn't stop. So what is your take on time not stopping on your end of your world?
Oh my gosh. So when you said we're in our 50s, but sometimes we don't feel like it. Well, when I went up to visit the newest grand,
Mhm.
when I was riding the train, I didn't feel like I was in my 50s. But when I got up there with that new grandbaby and them in our almost 40-year-old kids,
Right.
that's when I felt like it.
You
I'm
felt
like,
you,
man, it was just like surreal, like, because it's like I see, I see them grown up, they're getting up in the morning, going to work, and just doing adult things, and you're like, I'm looking, I'm like, man,
mhm.
30, almost 38 years old, they have their households. It's just like you said, time is
Mhm.
it's crazy. It
It
is,
feels so different,
it
right?
is, it was very different. I was like, I've been in some sort of been having some kind of feels ever since I've been up there and came back home.
Mhm.
So I'm still trying to like, you
Trying
know,
to put your arms around that feeling.
yeah, I am.
Because it's not like, because they're still our kids.
Get right.
And they don't, even though they're adults, they're still our
Yep.
kids. So when you in their space and you're like, they're really doing things on their own and they don't
Yep.
really need us
Nope.
to tell them or guide them or do anything because they have their own.
That's
They're
it.
their own person. They're their own adults.
Yep.
They have their own families with their own kids. And it's
Yep.
like, well, what in the world? It feels like you it's like a little void. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the feeling you feel. It's like a void. It's like they don't really need
Hmm.
us anymore, but they
Yeah.
do in a sense. You still feel that motherly, of course, our motherly instincts are still there,
Right. Yeah.
but it's just different.
It is. It's different. It's different. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but it's good. I'm there.
I know. I tell you, I know, which goes in line with, why did our kids grow up so fast?
Yes, it's so quick.
They
That's
grew up so fast. It seemed like, and that's why I said time doesn't wait for no one. So anybody, if you have younger children, keep them as young and
yes,
make sure you be present. You spend as
e-
much quality time with them
absolutely.
because once they're grown, that's it. And once they start getting into their own personalities and wanting to be with their friends and wanting to, do things that don't include you because why? Because you is mama.
Yep.
So you gonna be it. Don't embarrass me, mama. That's what
Yep.
don't
Mhm.
embarrass me. Don't embarrass me. But
Yep.
yeah, they grew up so fast. And I'm just like,
They
what?
do.
To have 38, like you said, 36, 38.
Yep.
My
Hmm.
youngest 30. And
30.
it's
Yep.
like, and they're like planning their families and they're like, well, I'm gonna have my last kid, make sure I have all my kids by this age. I'm
Yeah.
like, huh?
Yep.
It's like now they have their kids and their families and I'm like, where did that time go? It's like
I
it was just
know.
yesterday. We were like going to sport activities, going
Yes.
to school conferences, going to
School
planning,
programs.
yeah, programs and stuff
Hmm.
like that, or teaching them how to drive.
Yep. Hmm. Well, look at
And
our grandkids. Cayenne, look at our grandkids.
I know.
You
I'm
got
like,
preteen. You got a preteen
I
in one.
know
We got teenagers.
teenagers. I got
Yeah.
preteens coming. I mean, we got teenage grandkids.
Oh yeah, you
I
do have
know.
grandkids, yeah.
Yeah, we have teenage grandkids too.
Yep.
It's just like, hmm,
I know.
they grew up so fast. And I just think about how fast that time went.
Hmm.
Time was so precious. And, if I could just and think about that. So why did our kids grow up so fast? But what do you think about them growing up so fast? What do you think about now that they are grown and that none of them are staying in the same state that you are?
Nope.
How does
Uh-uh.
that feel to you?
You know what? And I know you and I talk about it a lot, to where
Mhm.
it's kind of some, you want them to venture out, do their own thing, but like when it comes around holidays and stuff like that, and those type of events, and when you get just everybody, it's hard to get everybody together. I think that's like the hardest part for. But I mean, I get it. That's just the way, it doesn't, it's just how it goes sometimes.
No, but that goes back to the time. Time just
Mm-hmm.
flew by, and
Yep.
it was like, oh my gosh, I know every now and then my memory will bounce back to
Yeah.
when they were babies or when they were growing up
Mm-hmm.
or things we used to do, and now those days are over. we're not can't go back to those times, right? Those days are over, but now we're in a different season
Yeah.
for them. And to watch them become parents, become spouses, become who they are to their own, it's like it's almost like I say, God, okay, so you wanted us to be parents, so now we're not parents. So now, I mean, we're still parents, but we're
Yeah.
not parents to little kids
Mm-hmm.
anymore. So now, what is our part? What
Yeah.
do we do? What is
What do
the
we do?
purpose now? You know,
Mm-hmm.
because to your point, it feels different
Yeah, it
now
is.
that we're seasoned,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, you want to still be there, even
Mm-hmm.
though they're not here, but still be there to treasure the moments when we can.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm trying to put my arms around the whole thing of, you know, the fact that they do have their own. We're not
Mm-hmm.
going to be with them 24/7. We
Yep.
can't. And they're not even in the same state we're in. So we got to even
Yep.
figure that part out, you know?
Yep.
Unlike before, back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
grandparents, parents all used to stay somewhere in
Safe.
the
Yep.
same
Mm-hmm.
vicinity. But like you said, you wanted the kids to venture out. You wanted them to
Yeah.
explore the world. You wanted them
Mm-hmm.
to see what was out here and make their decisions on their own and not stay
Mm-hmm.
so stuck
Right.
area just because that's where they were from.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Yep.
consequence to that, I don't like
Yeah, it's just that's
it.
our part of life. But you know, on the other side of that, I feel like they're closer in age with us now for some
Oh
reason.
my gosh, that's a good point.
I feel like they're, when they were younger, they felt, the age gap felt like, so far
Yeah.
away. Now I feel like we're like close in age for
Yeah.
some weird
Yeah, because
reason.
they can relate to how
Yeah.
we feel. They can relate
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of the things that we go through. Unlike before,
Yep.
they couldn't because that wasn't in their wheelhouse. They didn't have
Mm-hmm.
to think about the things that we had to think about, right?
Yep.
Or go through the things that we had to go through. Yeah,
Yeah. So the
that's
relatability now it's definitely there when it comes to having our adult kids. It's
yeah. And you
yeah.
know, also I noticed that they are more curious of the decisions that we've made in our lives along the way now that they're older,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
And those conversations you have them now because they're older and they can understand
Mm-hmm.
better now. But to your point, they can relate. They can relate because they are actually going through life
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
experiencing some of the same things,
Same things.
maybe a
Yep.
little different because
Mm-hmm.
times are different, but some of the same things that we experience, right?
Yep. Yep.
I know to hear my kid, you know, I don't know, it's different. This generation is different than us because they have their conversations about, Mom, I don't know if you knew this when we were in school, but this is
Yep.
what happened. We don't have those conversations. We don't go back and have those conversations that they're willing to
Nope.
give us. They give us the whole open
Yeah,
book.
they give us everything. I
The
don't want
open book is there. And we're like,
we would have never done that.
I don't even want to know some of that. But it's okay because you want to share.
Yeah, you
You want
do.
to be able, you listen and you want them to know that we're here to listen because they
Yeah.
want to share that. But I don't know, my mom wouldn't want to know some of this.
No.
Need
No.
my dad, neither one of them wouldn't want to
No.
know. They'd be like, what
Absolutely
you
not.
telling me that for? Because they wouldn't go back and tell us their business.
Yep.
But they don't have, they free will. They just like
Yes, they are.
blurt it out. Yeah.
No
So
questions.
I tell you. But yeah, so that's interesting though. That's interesting to think about how fast
Mm-hmm.
that they have grown up and
Yeah.
how much now they can relate to us and how now it's different for us
Mm-hmm.
as being parents to them because they're on their own doing their own thing and
Yep.
you can't helicopter them anymore. You
Mm-mm.
can't like stop them from falling because half the time you don't even know what's going on, you
Yeah.
know. So it's like it goes back to the same way we were, you know, when we became of age to live out on our own.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go back to our parents and say, you know, we need you to help us with this, we
Yeah.
need you to do this. But you be wanting to hear, you'd be like, everything okay?
Yep.
I'm doing okay. And
Yep.
yeah, you don't call me that often. Well,
Right.
we're doing life over here, Mom.
Uh-huh. Yep. And look, and if we do helicopter too much,
Yeah.
they might not talk to you for about 2 months.
Then you get blocked. No, I'm just playing. Be like,
And
you
they,
keep calling me. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm like, but I just want to make sure you're okay.
they'll block you in a minute, won't it?
Like, what is the blocking thing going on? No. But I think that they're in their emotions a lot more than we were.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think their feelings are a lot more
Hmm.
heightened than ours were. We didn't, and then they're more exposing their feelings than we were. We were
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yep.
yes, we still had to answer the call. Believe me, we
Hmm.
was not going to not answer a call even when
Right.
we did have the phones or the beepers or the
Yep.
pagers or whatever we had, or the or answer the other line
Oh,
when it
that's the
was the
little,
cord
yep.
phone, because it
Uh-huh.
was call waiting. Your mom
Yep.
called and be like, "Why you ain't answering that phone?
Uh,
You know you on the phone? It's beeping."
yep. It's beeping.
You know that beep would come when somebody
Yeah.
was on call waiting.
I can hear it. I heard it beep.
Exactly. And
Yep.
that's all I tell you, it amazes me how it's different. But you go back and you look at when we were growing up, our
Hmm.
grandparents didn't have like air conditioned central air,
Yeah.
or they didn't have color TV.
Hmm.
And now the era that we're in that same era where, we didn't have this and they have this.
Uh-huh.
But it's just I think it's more overwhelming now because it's so much
So much.
information.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So much.
Oh, so much. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's those are my two questions for the day. Of time is so precious, and it's taken kind of a toll on my spirits in regards to thinking how much time has gone by and
Hmm.
thinking about how much time we have left and
Yep.
treasuring what we have and
Absolutely.
seeing where
That's
people are leaving us and
yeah.
then just thinking about, we just never know, because
Hmm.
we don't, God only knows the day or the time,
That's right.
so we just gotta, and I think the older we get, the more we start thinking about, I want to enjoy each day
They
as it
right.
is and not so focus on what could happen or might happen,
Hmm.
um,
Yep.
so that we can just embrace what is going on in today's world with the
Today.
kids and with the
Hmm.
family, with the grandkids. Try
Yep.
not to miss a beat with, now we have technology. I wouldn't even know what to do if I didn't have technology with all the kids all spread
I
over the
know.
place.
Yep.
And I can't see or talk to them and things like that. And then we could be traveling up and down the road and
Yep.
things like that because you want to miss those milestones.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
yeah,
That's good. Good,
good
good
stuff.
topics. Very good topics.
What you got for today,
All
Paprika?
right. So what I have today on a serious note, this is a really good one.
Mm,
We both lost a parent.
mm,
You lost your father, I lost my dad. And neither one of us were in the state when it happened. So have you ever asked God what that was about?
mm,
Um, I often wondered why it
mhm,
happened that way. I don't think I've ever asked God what was it, I wondered why. I didn't ask God why why it happened that way.
right.
Of course you come to your own conclusions on, why things happen. But yeah, it was just I will say it was tough, as you know. I was in Kuwait at the time, so yeah. And it's like one of those things you'll never forget, I
Where
think,
you were and
yep, where
when
I
it happened
was.
and when you
How
got
many
the
times
call.
when I got the phone calls, it was like, I don't know, it was like wee hours in the morning for me over there at the time. And I was like, it didn't never dawn on me. So, I think Zach called a couple times. No, I think Leisha called me and I was like, oh, what's Lisa calling me for? I said, I'll call her back, and then I think she called again and Zachary called me. I was like, okay, what's going on? So when he called, that's when he told me. I was like, oh my God. It was like a shock, like, what in the world? So yeah. But never, like I said, I've always just wondered, you know, because I know we know things happen in its own timing.
Mhm.
So just just the thought of why, like I said, we come to our own conclusions on why things could have happened, but um, when God says it's time, it says it's time. So how about you?
I've thought about it, and I have kind of asked as far as what why wasn't I there, and
Mm-hmm.
also remembering, to your point, remember exactly what I was doing and
Mm-hmm.
exactly when I finally got the call, because I was struggling. I was taking a nap that day, and the phone would ring and I didn't answer, and then phone rang again, and then I got the message, and I'm like I felt so lost, like
Mm-hmm.
I get a little emotional here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
so lost because I was like, I'm so used to being there to help through difficult
Mm-hmm.
situations. And I remember calling up to Joe, and I was like, Dad's died,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so like it was like a stop in time.
Yep.
It just reminded me like this, well, with Jarella was different because
Mm-hmm.
we knew he got in that car accident,
Yeah.
and then we had to go to the hospital, and we kind of knew, what would or could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But this was just like bam.
Yep.
For you, it's like you didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect that call. And that's where I tell the kids all the time, you just never know who or what somebody is calling you for. So
Mm-hmm.
be careful for when you decide not to want to answer a call,
Yeah.
because you just never know what might be happening on the other end.
So
And
true.
not to be there, and to have, just the same way you did, to have your mom having to deal with that without you being
Yep.
there
Mm-hmm.
in that moment. To This has happened, decisions
Mm-hmm.
have to be made,
Yep.
you're kind of trying to figure out
Figure out. Mm-hmm.
what in the world is going on, and you
Yep.
can't, because it's such a shock,
Mm-hmm.
so you're like, God, why? And that's why, why have it happen that way? And maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to your point, God doesn't make mistakes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there was a reason why,
Yeah.
it happened the way it happened. But it also, I don't know if you did this, but for me, I replayed things that my dad said before it happened. And then it made me think that it was going to happen. It was somewhere in there. It was going to happen because of
Mm-hmm.
things that were being said.
Sad. Yeah. 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 You do. You go back and look and go back through timelines. Because like the very last time he was, matter of fact, when I was leaving for Kuwait, mom and dad came over here. That was the last time I seen him. He was standing, I could see him still standing outside that front door, like right there. And I was like, waving by. I know I'm getting emotional now too. But yeah, it was this yeah, you could play back in your mind
You
like,
could, hmm
yeah.
you play back that,
Yep.
and like, I remember the last time to your point, the last time they were here, and
Mm-hmm.
before it happened, which was that summer, and he sat
Mm-hmm.
out on the porch, and he was, it's just the things he would say. He's like, Tasha, I'm not going to be here. I don't know when God's going to call me home. And I'm just like,
Mm.
my
Yeah.
my dad he never liked to talk about
Ooh.
passing away.
Mm-hmm.
He always be like, I don't want, he was scared. I don't want,
Mm-hmm.
and but that particular time he was willing to talk about it, and it was
Mm-hmm.
more of a peace with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like that was something that kind of was giving me some peace in
Mm-hmm.
mind, to know that he was okay.
Yep.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so yeah, I just, in one hand, I'm like, I wish I was there, but then another
Yeah.
hand, I'm like, God knew what he was doing when he did it, because he know how close I was to my dad,
Yeah.
and he knew what I was going to be able to handle, and probably what I wasn't going to be able to handle. I might have been
A-
a total basket case and might not have been no help to anybody, because
Agree.
you know what I'm saying.
Agree.
So
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
I think about that too.
Absolutely agree to that. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I would have been popping up. If
But
I was,
yeah,
it'd be in total pop-up Xanax for sure. I already
yeah,
know. I
yeah,
already,
you would have been like, I need something to calm my
I
nerves.
already know. Because,
I think,
imagine the shock, like you were, like you said, the shock that when you were there, the shock that you weren't in while you're in Tennessee, that shock in, it's like, so what do I do? So what happens now? So I,
right,
I kind of just sat up all night, like,
right.
I called you.
Yeah, I remember, look,
Like,
I remember I was in, when you called me, I was
mhm,
in Kansas at the time. And we were going to dinner, and I remember where I was when you called
mhm,
me and
mhm,
how it's like your heart sinks because you
mhm.
know that the pain behind
Yeah.
that. Because I could
Mhm.
hear when you called was like, you was like touching my dad. I
Yep.
was like, what?
Mhm.
It was like it's like your heart just
Yep.
sinks in the pit of your stomach, and
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh. And you're like, it's all, when you're not there, you can't put your arms around nobody.
Mhm.
You can't, you know, um, you can't be emotional with anybody
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're not there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you want to, and you're like,
Yep.
it's
Mhm.
just that total loss and that total void.
Yeah.
But I that to have that moment for when
Mhm.
that happened made me really, I mean, even though, don't get me wrong, other people have passed
Yeah.
in our life, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right.
We've had that. But when your parent, which is the person that is the reason why you're here
Here, yeah.
and that has
Mhm.
been there, with you all your
Mhm.
life,
Yep.
and that's no longer accessible to
Mhm.
you, it's different.
Yep. It is
It's
different.
different. It makes you think about time a little different.
Mhm.
I know, we all, I know a lot of us do this. We think about, um, sometimes, oh, why do they call and ask this? Or what are they doing?
Yeah.
And you know what? I would change, I would never, ever, I'd be like, call as much as you want,
Yeah.
ask
That's
as much
right.
as you want,
Mhm.
come over as much as you want. What do
Yeah.
you want to do?
Mhm.
Because you just never know when that moment is not
You're
going to
right.
be there anymore,
You're right.
which
Yep.
goes back to the lot. Time is so
Mm.
precious. We
Precious it
gotta
is.
embrace the time that
Mhm.
you have. And I'm not saying we all don't need our own space sometimes.
Yeah. Of
We
course.
all
Of
do.
course. Mhm.
But yeah, to that, I think God knew what he was doing.
Yeah. You're
Well, he
right.
knew what he
Yep.
was doing when he said, okay, you need to be there and you don't
Yeah.
need to be here. You need to be right there because I think, yeah, I don't know if I would have been any good to anybody
Yeah,
with
I probably
that
wouldn't have been
stuff.
good. And I remember I asked you because I never had I never knew what it felt like to, I mean, like you said, we lost our grandparents and
Yeah.
and but to lose like a parent that, and then you lost Jarrell. And I remember I asked you, I was like, so this is what this feels like.
Yeah. It's a void. It's like,
Yeah. I was like,
it's
okay.
somebody that, it's so empty. It's like an
Yeah.
emptiness that comes with
Yep.
it that,
Hmm.
even though you have support and you have people around,
Yeah.
it's still not the same.
No,
It's
yeah.
not the same. It's the void where family gatherings are different,
Yep.
celebrations are
Yeah, it
different,
is different.
you
Yep.
know, just conversations are different,
Hmm.
because that person, I don't, and I always think about, ever think about how our families are put together for a reason, the way we're all put
Hmm.
together,
Yeah.
and everybody has a purpose, right? So I think about, when Jarrell was here before he passed, when he was 21,
Hmm.
he had a purpose of
Hmm.
bonding certain things together
Mm-hmm.
as he came into our world.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad had a purpose.
Just, yep.
Yeah, and now it's like with people that are gone, that's inside your intermediate in your
Mm-hmm.
circle,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, who takes that? Who takes up that space then?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it becomes a, like I say, it becomes a serious void.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we never get over,
Yeah.
the passing of anyone that's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
passed. And you'll always remember. I still listen to voicemails. I
Mm-hmm.
still
Yep.
have voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. I hope my voicemail never goes away. But
Mm-hmm.
there's just, things that, we'll always have
Yeah.
will make us make everything
Mm-hmm.
seem, remember those precious times
Times. Yeah.
and
Yep.
moments that we have,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
which keeps us, from
Mm-hmm.
pain, because the pain is going to be there.
Yeah.
But sometimes those precious moments and the
Mm-hmm.
time we share, it takes care of the pain. It makes
Yeah.
you feel better, right? It
Yep.
makes you feel better
Mm-hmm.
to
It
know,
does. Yeah.
I know we talk about when the birds come and, that's
Yeah.
Mr.
Uh-huh.
Jack, or that's my dad, or, or
Yep.
that,
Uh-huh.
thinking about, things people say, oh, you think
Mm-hmm.
about that. Oh yeah, that's Mr. Jack saying that,
Yep.
you say,
Uh-huh.
or
Yep.
you hear your sister, or your brother say stuff,
Uh-huh.
and they're still here in the midst, but
Yep.
it's just not, that's what I'm saying. It's just not the same,
Yeah.
not the
It's not.
same.
Mm-mm.
And it just, and I feel like, I know, Lord, when once you lose a parent, it's
Mm-hmm.
like when you see posts and you see people, you can kind of, you can relate
You,
to that
can. Yeah.
emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
So time is so precious.
Yes,
We
it
really
is.
have to embrace the time that we have with family that we have and friends that we have and people that God bring in our lives, to
Mm-hmm.
just embrace and enjoy that time, because we
Mm-hmm.
just, like I said, you just never know.
Yep.
You just never know.
That's exactly right. That's good.
Mm.
That was a good one.
Yeah, got a little emotional, y'all.
You
Sorry.
did. Yep, that's okay.
It's a part of it.
Yep,
It's a
that's the
part of
life.
it. We're transparent, being
Absolutely.
just open and transparent here. So
Mhm.
it's a part of life. But I just tell you, God knew what he was doing, because,
Yeah, he did. Yeah. When you when you
just
think of it
thinking
that
about,
way, it's like yeah, I'd have been, yeah, it would,
I would have been a wreck. I would
yeah,
have been a total wreck.
yeah. And at least, with the travel time, we had a little bit of
We
time to
had some
process.
time, yeah, because we had some time to kind of get ourselves together a little
Yeah,
bit, and
yeah.
then riding down the road. I know when we drove home, I
Mm-hmm.
knew you flew home 14
Mm-hmm.
hours,
Yeah,
but you had that time with God
time.
to
Yep.
kind of ask for that peace and that calmness, and trying to figure out how to get your adrenaline together that you
Mm-hmm.
need to be there for your mom.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because that,
Mm-hmm.
and your family, because everybody else had to deal with the same thing that you
Same.
were
Yep.
dealing with, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
like, everybody's going to deal with it differently. But what I didn't want my dealing with it to bother my mom, because,
Yeah.
when, your mom is like,
Mm-hmm.
they don't want you to be hurt,
Hurt. Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
they know that that was your dad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but it was definitely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. If one thing I would ask God, I wish we all could stay here at the same time and leave the same time. You know
I
what I'm
know,
saying?
right? I know. I know.
So
When
we
you
all wouldn't
when you
have
think
to
about it, it's
feel
like,
feel
oh,
the void. That
yep,
it hurts. Yeah, that void
it
is
does hurt.
serious pain. Yeah,
Yes, it
that was
does.
good. That was a
That
good
was good.
segment.
That
Good
was a good
segment.
one. All right, now, let's see here on a lighter note. Let's see. Why does being a grandmother differ from when we were grandkids? Why does being a grandmother different from when we were grandkids?
So what are your
Go,
thoughts?
go ahead. I'll ask you first. Go ahead.
So I would tell you, my grandma used to have us all the time. I can't even get my grandkids. Okay. They don't even, I can't even, they won't. I mean, maybe y'all stayed in the same state, but
Yeah,
I think because they're in different states, everybody
yeah.
has time that they're looking not to miss. Unlike us, when we were kids, they were like, go and stay with your grandma for a whole summer.
Go summertime. Yep.
Used to be like, go on with your grandma. You go and stay with your grandparents,
Yep.
And now that's different.
No, it ain't. But I think too, because we work, I guess our grandparents worked too, but it
No,
wasn't,
we went to work with my grandma.
oh, you did. We didn't go to,
Grandma Ash had us on the bookmobile. We were on the bookmobile. We were in the cafeteria at the places where she was cooking in the cafeteria. Yes, we was working. we wasn't working, but we was going to work.
No, went there. No, we never go to work with my grandma. We pretty much just stayed like, because we went down there for summer. Every summer we were down there, and then we just stayed. I think my grandmother worked like part-time, but she seemed like she was always there all the time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. And then my granddad he used to hunt, so he'd be gone in the morning time, but
Yeah, but I mean, we did go to a summer camp. We
yeah.
had a summer camp there that grandma used to take us and drop us off.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all day. It was like half a day or something like that.
Yeah.
But
It's different. It's different now. We don't, yeah,
that don't happen now.
it don't.
How in the world? That does not happen. I don't even know. Don't nobody call me and say, can they come stay with you for the summer?
Nope.
Nobody call.
They don't. I know what is up with that.
And I'm just like, I'm still trying to figure out how I can get a week.
I know.
A week?
I think kids don't like they like their kids at home, I guess.
They want to, and look, I know Javon's like, I'm coming if Jeannie come, I'm coming.
Right.
And I mean, and that's how I think, and I also value that too, because I understand that they're different types of parents, they're like,
they are. Yeah.
they don't want the responsibility to fall on anybody else because it's their kids. And that's how they explain it to me. But I'm just like, well, if you're around, and I'm not going to be able to be a grandma because you ain't gonna let me grandma them.
Right. Nope. Yep. Because they can't have this. No, don't give them that.
Yeah, they're not going to let you grandma them.
I'm giving them all the candy. I'm giving them all too.
I'm giving them all the candy. I'm letting them stay up late. And
yeah.
And we go into the store and they're going to buy we're going to get what they want.
Get what they want.
And we're going to go where they want.
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me what I can't say, what I can't do.
Why they can't? That's why they don't want to let them come.
You're probably right. You're probably right. But it's different. It's different.
It
is very different. And and just think about it. We have boys. The boys have kids. You know what I'm saying? And they are like that. And you're like, huh?
I know.
But I praise God for that though, because they are some loving, they love their children.
Yeah,
so
they do.
I embrace the fact that, they want to spend that time with them, but I do get a little jealous sometimes because I do want to have some time too. And I think that part of not being close, and now I know Javon has mentioned that to me too. If we were closer, it'd be different, of course, because then, it goes back to when Aiden and Leo was small, they were at the house. So I could see the difference. The difference is that we're just not in the same space, right? So if we're in the same space, then we have a lot more time. But mama would drive 2 hours. It's 2 hours.
Drop us.
Drop us off. And I would cry when she dropped me off, and I would cry when she picked me up. I ain't want her to leave me. I ain't want to leave. It was always
had no problem taking us nowhere and dropping us off, did it?
Not one thing. It's summertime.
Yeah.
Bye. Summertime. Summertime. And grandma's gonna have y'all.
Yeah.
Miss Beasley was like, deuces.
Y'all gone, get the car.
Package, last day of school. What's the last day of school? Wednesday, we leaving that weekend.
Oh Lord.
Oh my gosh, but it's different.
That's hilarious.
It's really different. I mean, not only that, I think back then, I know my grandma, she was a discipliner. We picked up many switches with and took the in the switch, pick them. Don't pick your switch outside.
Yeah.
You gotta pick your switch. These days, then we talking about it.
Yeah.
We having a conversation.
Yeah,
tell me how you feel.
Yep.
And gentle parenting is a thing, right? I what was that? What's the gentle parenting back then?
You never had that opportunity to get gentle.
I don't even know what a gentle is. There was no gentle nothing in our growing up age.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. I remember living in Pear Tree Park, back then it was Iron Gate, and you had to be in by the street lights. The street lights came on. Don't be caught out there with them street lights on.
No,
and got in
ma'am.
trouble in front of everybody.
Everybody ain't, yes, so embarrassing. Oh my
Everybody.
God. Everybody knew you got in trouble. So embarrassing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and
And
now
it
if you
was,
embarrass your kids now, it's like
yeah,
that
they
like,
you like, yeah, they ready to call the
yeah, you
police on you.
cannot do that to them.
I know they so sensitive.
They really are. I guess that's the difference in the generations
The
now.
difference, that's a generations that, yeah, there's a difference in the
Mm,
I know, but our kids wasn't like, our kids knew that. Not you, what? You want to call who?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can try.
Yeah. I was telling, that's what I was telling Gavin and Zach that, yeah, I was like, y'all are the last generation of that.
They
That generation, that our kids' generation, they're the last generation of, because we were raised by what, the baby boomers. And
Mhm.
then,
Yep.
we still had some of those, morals and, that they gave us, or that, that we were taught from them. And, so we gave them to our kids. So they're like, the last
Yeah, the
generation.
discipline part, the discipline,
Yeah.
being the, disciplining our children was a
Hmm.
thing because they
Yeah.
were disciplined. And it changed, to your point,
Hmm.
after our kids' generation, everything
Yep.
kind of shifted a little
Hmm.
bit because I mean, even when the kids were in school, they used to call us and you come in here and discipline, come get them.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
You could
Yep.
come to the school, you want to take your child in the bathroom and get them straight. You can they'll call you in a minute. Now
Yeah.
they don't even entertain that anymore. I
Mm-mm.
don't even think that's one thing I do not like about school now is that they do not know or do not have any means of conflict resolution in school with these
Yeah.
kids, which to me causes a lot of the bulliness and a lot of the
Yeah.
internet
Mm-hmm.
insecurities
Mm-hmm.
and things that are going on that they need to figure out how
Mm-hmm.
to teach these, to have conversations, have these
Yeah.
kids have conversations about conflict resolution.
Yep.
Bring these kids in a room and figure out why you have a problem. What
Mm-hmm.
is the
Yep.
problem and how can we resolve it?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You just think about how many times, I know how many times I went to school. I'm like, let's talk to, where's the parents at?
Yeah. Yep.
Parents,
That's right.
child,
Yep.
principal,
Let's
come on,
get everybody together. Yep.
let's have a
And we're gonna
conversation.
talk about it. That's
And
right.
they don't do that no more. I mean, and it's, and everybody's like, well, they should do this at home, but they're not at home all the time. And they're
Mm-mm.
going to be they're going to be in spaces that they're going to have to learn how to figure that out. And what what the solutions that they have right now are not
Mm-hmm.
it,
Yeah.
because they're not resolving anything. They're just trying to do a quick fix to it.
Fix. That's it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I do see that difference in grandparenting, the
Yeah.
kids, and seeing the difference in the generation. And I
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean that when I listen to my son talking about wanting to homeschool because he doesn't want the kids to be in school because he's a little concerned about
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in school, but you can't shelter them either,
Yeah. True. No, you can't. Yeah.
and you got to have faith and knowing that God's going to watch over them, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to do like we did. You got to be involved. You got to go
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
school. You got to talk to the teachers. You
Gotta stay
got
on top of it. That's
to
right.
join the committees. How many
I
PTA?
know.
PTA
God.
treasurer for
PTA, oh my God, PTA meetings,
PTA.
being the what is it, the class mom, room mom, or whatever it was,
Yeah,
where
the
you go up there
classroom
and do the
mom bringing
activity.
all the snacks in and
Yeah.
eating with the kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they do. And but see, I don't know. I don't know what changed with that. I don't
Yeah.
even know. Do they do that
I
anymore?
don't think so. I know you can't bring like snacks. I think they have to be like bought snacks. You can't, like, remember how we used to make cookies, or our parents used to make cookies and bring them up. They can't do that anymore. They have to
Because
be
of
bought.
allergies,
Yeah, they
right?
have to be bought snacks in a package. And
It's just so many things. I think what I don't think we do enough of in either generation, and
hmm
this is my project management hat, we don't
hmm
take lessons learned from before and say
Yeah, that's
worked
right.
back then and what didn't.
Do it
And
didn't
let's
right.
try to fix that today.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes with raising children and
Yeah.
spending time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the conversation part, I think that has been helpful because we didn't have that back. We won't have no
Yeah, that's
conversation.
true. No, it
Go
was
into
that.
your room, get your spanking, go on to sleep, do whatever
That's
you
it.
want to
We
do. We
ain't
see
talking
you in the
about it no
morning,
more. That's
okay?
right. That's
But
it.
there has been some good to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also, I think some of the things that are missing still is the loss of those that get lost in the mix that don't get that,
Yeah.
and they're looking
Mhm.
for that attention and
Looking
that
for it.
love and that
Mhm.
someone to listen to them.
Yeah.
And then being able to learn. I mean, it's
Yep.
just mentoring and things like that. All of that
Mhm.
comes with that.
Yeah.
But I think that has a lot to do with why we're not grandparents like our grandparents was.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
I think
You
that has
can't
a
say,
lot to
but we
do with
definitely
it.
ain't spanking the kids either because they don't want you to spank the
Oh, no,
kid.
you can't. Don't what? And then look, I remember when I did until they had to realize I don't know what to do. I said, you better pop that hand.
Yep.
You better put, and you ain't hurting them. Just pop
No.
their hand, hurt their feelings a little bit to know, hey,
Mm-mm.
do not.
Nope.
Because that once, I mean, kids are smart. They know how to manipulate you to get what you
Mhm.
want. But they could, that's why they can't come to grandma's house.
That
Because
nope.
they know that's what we do. We'd be like, what you want, baby? Come on, let's go
Yep.
get
Let's
it.
go get it.
Let's
Yep.
go have some ice cream. Your stomach hurt. Okay, it's okay. We gonna make
Yeah.
you feel better. Then you can get some more sweets later.
Yeah. The reason why I had when I had the girls, I'm at Ulta Beauty. Why am I at
You,
Ulta
I
Beauty with the
know, but you had Ultra Booty skincare products. You called and told
$200,
me that.
$200? I'm like, what? Right. I'm now, when would I ever do that? Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, that's right.
It's
Oh, and I think they
different.
better stay home. I was kidding. I'm
It's
just kidding. I'm
different.
just
It's
joking.
different.
Yeah, it
That
is
is for
different.
sure.
It's fun. It's fun though.
It's fun, yeah.
It is.
But that's why, and this goes back to time is so precious. Now
Mm-hmm.
we don't have as much time as our grandparents did with
Yeah.
kids. But we also look at the wisdom that we got from our grandparents
Mm-hmm.
when they were seasoned, when they were our age. And
Yeah,
now we understand
definitely.
where the wisdom came from that they would
Mm-hmm.
spit and speak to us. I say spit,
Yeah.
they would spit
Mm-hmm.
it out to us.
Right.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and now we can relate because now we talk about our wisdom and what we've learned along the way,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that has been what has it came full circle,
Yeah, yes.
with us. It's come full circle, to hear the kids be like, well, mom, you need to talk to Aiden or talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like that's the part of the grandparenting
Mm-hmm.
that we do, that the kids trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
what to do, because you remember when they were kids and we were still trying to figure out
Figured out.
when they
Yeah.
got into such situations that we had like, okay, mom, what do I do? Or dad, what do I do
Mm-hmm.
here?
Yep.
What does this mean? But I think that's the season that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
is to be there, to be that wisdom to our kids and as well as the grandkids,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
though we can't spend a lot of time with them, but we do.
Yeah.
That phone, they call us and they text
Yeah.
us.
They tr-
They like Zach text you, come
yep.
bring
Yep.
me some Starbucks
You
to
bring
school.
to school. Yep.
Bring you some
On
Starbucks
time.
to
Yep.
school. I can't wait. They gonna get they haven't got to that point yet
Oh
where they
yeah,
be
it's
like
coming.
cash out me. They ain't
Yep.
got there yet. I'm look, time is precious, but I'm wait that time can lead
It's
longevity time.
coming. I'm hungry. Can you cash out me some money? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's coming.
I tell you, that's something.
We do anything for those rascals, I tell you. We
We
do
do.
anything for
We
them.
will all the time, whatever they
Mm-hmm.
need, whenever
Yep.
I mean, because you want them to be able, but I also want them to work for I also
Yeah.
want them to, I don't want to be a helicopter like I was with the kids, but
Mm-hmm.
I do want to spend time to make them understand that they have to work hard for what they want.
Yeah.
I think
Mm-hmm.
we can recognize that now from thinking that we can
Yes.
give our kids, and that was gonna, make it all better for them. But no, that wasn't the thing to do, because giving doesn't show them how to get what they want the way they
Yeah,
need to get, because hard work it comes with a lot of hard work.
definitely
You got to
does.
go
That's
after
right.
what you want. And it's not, I think all of them know. I think we kind of buried that in their head. They got to go
Mm-hmm.
after, they can go after whatever they want,
Mm-hmm.
but they got to put
Mm-hmm.
in the work to get
Got to
it.
put in the work. That's right.
You got to put in the work, I tell you. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so time being so precious, and where we are in our time. I mean, just thinking about you know, just treasuring the time we have and figuring out how we can space our time out to spend time with,
Yeah.
family and friends, and because time ain't stopping for nobody.
Sure ain't. Not at all.
Not at all. But yeah, so this was good. So
It's good. It's a
episode
good
4.
combo.
Good season
Good
convo. I
season
tell you,
combo.
time is so precious. We
It's
gotta cherish
so
the time that we have, be thankful
be
and
thankful for
grateful to
sure.
God for the time that He's given us to share with those that He put, with us through this life, and just embrace the time and not, focus on, the time that we don't have. Because I tell you, the one thing that's hard for me is not being around the grandkids or the
Yeah.
kids. I don't
It
like
is.
missing milestones. I don't
Yeah.
like missing, like, oh, like they were babies here, and then the next time I see them, they're walking.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
It does make you feel some kind of way.
Yeah, I just, yeah, that part of it.
I wonder if our grandparents felt that way.
I know. I don't know.
I wonder if they felt like, I don't think they did. I don't think they felt like they were upset about missing milestones like we were, probably like we are.
I don't know. I'm curious to know. I think I should ask your mom. Ask your
Yeah.
mom.
I will. Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
I'm gonna ask Miss Beasy that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Miss Beasy, do you feel some kind of way about not being there in the midst of different milestones with the
Yeah.
kids or the
For the
grandkids?
grandkids. Yeah.
Yeah, because there were times that they weren't with us, when we were growing, did you have some sentiment or emotions about or surrounding that? I know I do. But I know everything happens for a reason. So I
It
just,
does. Yeah.
like I say, I want to embrace. I'm getting into a season, Susan, where we're gonna Paprika, where we're gonna
I know.
embrace.
We're embracing. That's right.
We're embracing and just, giving us some grace to know that God's put us here, and not feeling like we're not. I don't want to ever feel like I'm not doing my part as
Yeah. I know. I
either
know.
parent,
Yeah.
grandparent, daughter,
Yeah. You're
wife,
right. You're right.
friend,
Yeah.
whatever. I always want to feel like that I'm doing my part in whatever
Yep.
that might
Mm-hmm.
mean, so yeah.
Yep.
But this was good.
This
So,
was good.
all right. Well, we're almost gonna close episode
Yeah.
4, and we
Let's
appreciate
go. 4.
everyone. And the email is going to come up on the screen, and it's gonna come up throughout the session for you all to comment or send us a message. If you can you relate to how we're feeling about time?
Yeah,
Being
let us know. Let's talk about it. Let us know.
yeah, let's talk about it. Let us know how you feel so we can have a recap on how the audience felt about some of our topics that we have here. We'd love to hear from you. And
Definitely.
please subscribe. Please subscribe
Yes.
so you can get a notification when we do post another episode or upload another episode onto either Spotify or YouTube.
Yep.
And we look forward to the next time.
Yes.
So,
All right.
Paprika, you want to see us out?
I'll just say happy season combo and welcome to episode number 4. This was
Yes,
good.
and thank God for all that He's doing, all that
Yes.
He's gonna do, and all that He's done. We are so
Amen.
grateful. Everyone, you all take care, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.